The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Eye Test, brought to you by Belly Up Sports Media Network. I am your host, John Kirkner, with Bobby Amendola and Paul Orlando, my wonderful co-hosts. How are we doing, boys?
Ready to rock.
My redraft team sucks.
My redraft team is very good.
My redraft team is also underperforming. But the good news is, boys, is we have Week 6 Fantasy Awards to hand out today. We had some polls put up on our Instagram at the Eye Test Pod. Go ahead, follow that. Vote on these polls every Monday night during the football games so that you can be a part of this show. You can vote, you can watch this show, and see who wins. So go ahead, like this video, subscribe to our channel, so that you get notified when we put up new episodes. But like always, the first award of every week is going to be that week winner, boys. And the first nominee for the week winner of Week 6, featured in the Mostert Mash, Raheem Mostert, RB2.
Yeah, Raheem Mostert is just absolutely lighting the frickin' world on fire. It's insane. He's averaging almost 2 touchdowns a game, guys. He has 11 touchdowns on the year through 6 weeks. And he and the greatest show on surf, I forget who called it that, but I know we talked about it last episode, but it's just like, that's just the coolest name in the entire planet. The greatest show on surf. But yeah, we expected Raheem Mostert to have a monster game with Devin Achane on the IR, and he certainly did. And I was playing Bob this week, who has Raheem Mostert, so that was a lot of fun to watch that happen to me. But Raheem Mostert only played 61% of the snaps and did all of this damage. 34 points, 17 rushes for 115 yards, 2 scores on the ground, and then just to add insult to injury, 3 catches for 17 yards and another score through the air. This guy, at 31 years old, what he is doing is absolutely insane. He's been in the league for 8 years, and he's sitting as the RB2 and the number 3 overall player in fantasy. It is just insane how much Mostert mashing Raheem Mostert is doing to fantasy players. And Bob, when did you draft him? Or did you draft him?
I was just looking that up, and yes, I did draft him. I drafted him at the 11:08, so almost the 12th round, and I was ridiculed a little bit, but I just thought, I was like, oh, okay, he's a starting running back. We'll probably get some work, right? I definitely did not think this was going to happen, but sometimes you run into some good ones.
Yeah, that is what we call a blindfolded dart throw that just so happens to be a bullseye there. And Raheem Mostert, you got to give it up to him. You got to give him up to this entire Miami Dolphins team. They are lighting the absolute world on fire. Raheem Mostert, this is certainly not the first week he's probably won you, but he is my nominee in the spirit of Halloween with the Mostert Mash.
The Mostert Mash.
Those types of players that you get in those later rounds, if they're just an RB1, granted, if they're an RB2, they're helping you win your weeks. But Mostert is certainly an RB1 for the season.
He's elite. He's
second overall running back.
Number 3 overall player.
Number 3 overall player in fantasy behind, I'm assuming, Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. That's actually crazy.
So that is nominee number 1. Congratulations to Raheem Mostert. We will see if you win. But first, nominee number 2, featured in Fancy Seeing You Here again, Adam Thielen.
Yes, Adam Thielen is climbing up the ranks on these award shows nowadays. Last week, if you tuned in, he was a nominee for our Mr. Consistency Award. He was starring in a different film at the time, and that was called The Room Full of Idiots. But now you see him here nominated for a week winner award in Fancy Seeing You Here. And it's still just weird seeing Adam Thielen as a potential week winner here at the end of week 6 going into week 7. And 3 out of the last 4 games, he's put up pretty much 30 points in each game, which is absolutely insane for a guy that you probably could have gotten on your waiver wire. He's the wide receiver 4 now, which is even more mind-boggling because everyone pretty much wrote him off when he left Minnesota after leaving that pass-happy offense. I know, John, you mentioned it last week, but we were all a little skeptical with Adam Thielen, with the rookie quarterback. The stats usually aren't favorable for wide receivers with rookie quarterbacks, but Adam Thielen is certainly bucking that trend with Bryce Young, and this is a guy that could, if he keeps it up, could potentially help you win your league, and he is more than deserving of a week winner nominee.
Is Fancy Seeing You Here the sequel to Adam Thielen's first movie, and they just had so much success they're just making it a thing now?
Yeah, I think they're trying to make him into a star now. Hollywood saw the first Mr. Consistency film, and they were like, this guy deserves a lead role in a star movie.
The last time Adam Thielen was a top 10 wide receiver was in 2020. He's never been a top 5. So he was the wide receiver. His best finish was wide receiver 7 in 2018. So quite the career for Adam Thielen. And we do have a winner, everybody. The week 6 week winner is Raheem Mostert.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Finally wins one.
Finally, one of my nominees gets the recognition they deserve.
RB1 of the week, correct? Makes sense. All right, well, let's go over to the next award, a new award, quite the opposite of what we just did, and that is the Week Loser Award. Who lost you your week in Week 6? This nominee featured in You Were the Chosen One, is how I was supposed to say it.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Thank you. Davante Adams.
Yeah, so this is a nominee that Davante Adams and I think fantasy managers all over the world never expected him to get picked for, but he is our week loser nominee number 1. And you were the chosen one, Anakin. You were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them. And that is exactly what he's doing. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. That's actually the original poster for A New Hope in my basement that you can't really see, but it's back there. And so Davante Adams, just like Anakin Skywalker, is breaking the Jedi's hearts and fantasy managers alike. He was a top-tier wide receiver. And let's just go over his stats through the first 6 weeks. 12 points, okay. 20, 42 bomb, wonderful. 15.5, great. 8.5, and now down to 4.9. He is just completely busting. He's seen 9 targets in 2 games. He's averaging less than 5 targets a game the past 2 weeks. And the yardage and the touchdowns are not there either. It is just not going well for Davante Adams. And I think a big part of this is because he wants to get out of Vegas, and maybe he's kind of refusing to give full effort, even though that's not very Davante Adams-like. He's usually a good company man when it comes to this stuff. But at this point, if they're not going to utilize him, I really hope they trade him to somebody who will, and then maybe my redraft league can bounce back. But I don't know about all that, but still, if you're a Davante Adams owner here, it is not looking good for you. He is just not playing well in the last couple of weeks, which makes him our week loser nominee, number 1.
Yeah, Davante Adams, yet another first-round pick that is not performing up to standard. You hate to see it.
You just hate it.
Maybe we'll talk about more of them as we head into tomorrow's episode when we go over the doghouse. But first, let's go over nominee number 2 for the Week 6 loser. Featured in, romantic comedy.
Romantic comedy.
You, Me, and Capri, an all-time favorite. Puka Nakua. Come on down.
Yes, and this is certainly bittersweet for Puka Nakua. As we all know, You, Me, and Capri is a great movie, but it doesn't spell well for our star, Puka Nakua, unfortunately. Puka Nakua and Matt Stafford were in a great relationship the first 5 weeks of the season. Even the first game that Cooper Kupp came back, he had a good game. But now that Cooper Kupp is moving in with Matt Stafford and Puka, after returning from injury, he's starting to cause a little disruption in that household. And we all know the relationship that Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp had before Puka came to town. And now it seems like Cooper Kupp is becoming the favorite again. And this week, it resulted in Puka only having 7 targets, which was tied for a season low, 6.6 fantasy points, 4 receptions, and 26 yards. No touchdowns, obviously, since he only had 6 points. And this is probably just what it's going to be. This is probably the reality now that Cooper Kupp is back. There will probably be games where Puka will still be valuable and will put up good games, but they're not going to be nearly as consistent with Cooper Kupp in the picture. And as we all know already, Cooper Kupp is more proven. He had a really good game this week, and I expect more of that to continue. Even though Puka will still be the number 2 in that offense, it's going to result in less consistency. And unfortunately, he gets our week loser nominee.
Yeah, Puka's going to be that guy that you think about every single week. Should I put him in my flex or not? And it's going to drive you crazy. So if I'm a Puka owner, which I'm not, I would recommend putting him on the trade block now because you have enough of a sample size to say, hey, he can still do this even when Kupp is back. When he scored, 20 points against the Eagles. And he's got a pretty easy week in week 7 going against the Steelers, who let up a good amount of points to wide receivers. So now's your chance. Go ahead. Puka's value is still mid to high. Take advantage of it. But will he win the week loser award? Ladies and gentlemen, the results are in. The week 6 loser is not Puka Nakua. It's Davante Adam.
I see what's going on here. It's collusion now.
I paid the committee from you sweeping me last week like my Orioles. Oh, I just reminded myself.
Congratulations. A first-round pick performing like what we expected Raheem Mostert to perform. Swap places. Interesting. All right, let's go over to our third award here. The most improved nominee number 1 featured in Happy Billmore, Ramondre Stevenson. Come on down.
Yeah, Bob, I know you've seen Happy Gilmore. I know John has not seen any Adam Sandler movie because he just like is hell-bent on hating Adam Sandler for whatever reason.
Ridiculous. That's such a John thing to do. Pick one random person and be for no reason at all and just be like, yeah, I'm not going to watch his stuff.
Yeah, there was like, John, you're missing out because like there was a string in the 90s and early 2000s where Adam Sandler was just on absolute fire with every movie.
Well, I missed the jump. Like I didn't hear about those movies until I was already like 17 years old. I'm not going to go rewatch a 90s movie. The comedy's so stale. Very corny.
John, you act like Bob and I are like 10 years older than you. Like we're all the same age and we watch.
You watched them earlier than me. You watched them when you were probably like 8, 9, 10.
No, I don't know about that young. Maybe when I was like a teenager.
Yeah, I would say like 13, 14 is when I maybe saw my first Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, I think like that run, we're getting off track, but that run is amazing. Mr. Deeds, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, 51st Dates.
Like, I've heard great things about Happy Billmore.
Waterboy, that's a football movie, John. You got to at least watch Waterboy.
Okay.
We can't be a fantasy football podcast and not have you watch Waterboy. So we got to get that going. But Ramondre Stevenson in Happy Billmore is a spinoff from Happy Gilmore because you know where, well, Bob knows, in Happy Gilmore, when he's playing Shooter McGavin, and Happy Gilmore's big Achilles heel was he didn't know how to putt. But then all of a sudden, Happy Gilmore learned to putt, and he looks at Shooter McGavin and goes, ooh, looks like Happy learned how to putt. And that is exactly what's happening now. Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick are finally like, you know what? This Ramondre Stevenson guy is pretty good. We should make him a focal point in this offense. And that's exactly what they did. They used Ramondre Stevenson the way that he's had success in the pass game. So he didn't have much yardage on the ground here. 6 targets for 5 catches for 24 yards. He did score a touchdown on the ground, but still using him in the pass game opened up the running lanes for Ramondre Stevenson. He saw his best yards per carry of the season, just under 5. He did get that score on the ground for you against the Raiders on Sunday night. No, just on Sunday. But yeah, but regardless, Ramondre Stevenson had an excellent game here, 18 points. This is what you were expecting from him when you took him in probably the third, maybe early fourth. And he is improving so much from weeks 3 to 5. He had 7, 6, and 2.4 points. He's now back closer to 20. Let's hope that they can continue to use him in this manner. And Ramondre Stevenson owners hopefully will get the benefits of Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick finally learning how to use Ramondre Stevenson.
Great film. I loved Happy Gilmore.
It's Happy Billmore, dude.
Nah, I know the first one was great too. All right, let's talk about another great film here. Nominee number 2, starring in The Catcher in the Rider, Drake London. Ritter. That's the joke.
Yes, and if anyone has read The Catcher in the Rye, everyone knows it's kind of a coming-of-age book, and that's what we're alluding to here with Drake London. It finally seems like, I don't want to speak too soon, but it finally seems like Drake London is breaking out and coming of age, perhaps, in this offense, even with Desmond Ridder at quarterback, who actually, I will add, has been very good the past 2 weeks in fantasy. So we'll give him credit there. And Drake London had his best game of the season. A season high, 12 targets, 9 catches, 125 yards. Didn't get that touchdown, but still over 20 points for a guy that we thought was completely dead pretty much in fantasy after week 1 with that goose egg. Is starting to turn the tide and has been consistently getting better as the season has gone on. And if this Falcons offense, if Arthur Smith basically decides, hey, I'm going to start using my best players more often, then the sky is the limit for a guy like Drake London and even for guys like Kyle Pitts and obviously Bijan Robinson as well. So credit to Drake London for this, and he deserves this nominee.
Yeah. Slowly moving from a flex to a wide receiver 2.
Yep. Yeah.
I think
the
so
catcher
too.
the catcher in the flex.
That
was a horrible joke.
No, it was a great joke.
I laughed at it. I liked it.
But will he win? That's the real question, guys.
I
And
don't
the votes
know.
are in. The winner of most improved player from week 5 to week 6 is Ramondre.
I knew it. This is
Ramondre
this is how it's
Stevenson. It
gonna
only
go.
makes sense.
I know.
Oh, man. I can't wait for the next award, though, because I was looking at the polls right before we started. It was a 50-50 split. I was going to have to make something up. But I just checked in, and we just got one extra vote, and it is not an even split anymore. So let's head on over to our 4th and final award before we send someone to the doghouse. This is the biggest surprise, and nominee number 1 starred in another comedy film. Or is it maybe it's like a love story?
It can be.
Yeah. If you're, the accidental curly fry kind of guy, some people
Right.
are more straight cut fries.
Exactly.
They don't like the additional curly fry.
And that is the movie he was featured in, The Accidental Curly Fry, which I believe Paul here will explain the plot of the movie and the main star. And that is Michael Pittman.
Yeah, so Michael Pittman stars here in Accidental Curly Fry. And guys, please just entertain this for 1 second. Say you get a basket of fries. You're at a bar, at a restaurant, and you're like, you know what, guys? I don't really want a burger. I don't want anything like that. You guys just want to split some fries. And they're like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Waitress comes over, and she's like, all right, we got regular fries, we got curly fries, we got Texas wedge fries, we got whatever. And, just regular basket is fine because no one can commit fully to curly fries or one or the other. And lo and behold, when you get your basket of fries, there's just a few accidental curlies thrown in there, and it's just enough to hit that sweet spot that you were looking for. You didn't want a full basket of them. You just wanted a few. And that's what you got right now with Michael Pittman. I mean, from somebody who we have seen fall off draft boards, I know we as the eye test, we were borderline do not draft this guy.
I was literally saying that.
Yeah. With Anthony Richardson most likely and was starting under center until he got hurt. not a polished passer. We don't know what it's going to look like. It's going to be a run-heavy offense. All this, blah, blah, blah. But then lo and behold, even with Anthony Richardson in there, Pittman has still played pretty well. And now, unfortunately for Anthony Richardson, he is done for the year. But that is actually good for Michael Pittman because Minshew is more of a polished passer and does look for him all the time. 14 targets this week, guys. 14. That is elite level target share. He had 9 catches for 109 yards, 19.9 points. He does not need to score with this volume. Scoring will only put him over the top as a big boom 25-plus candidate. If Gardner Minshew continues to sling the rock the way that he has been and keeps involving Pittman in the pass game the way that he has been, Pittman should be a solid wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 potential in your lineup for weeks to come.
Yeah.
How the tables turn.
Maybe it'll be a similar story, a similar sequel to Adam Thielen, where maybe one day we'll see Michael Pittman in the week winner category.
Maybe.
You know? That would be cool. Will this happen to nominee number 2? I'm not so sure because he starred in just a drama. It's a really sad drama.
I think it's one of those dramas that just went straight to DVD. Like it wasn't shown in theaters or anything.
Yeah, this movie got 2 stars on is it IMDb?
Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. And that's Leftover Pizza starring Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, and I don't think any of us thought that we would be talking about Kareem Hunt, especially in a positive award context. But have you ever gotten home from a night out and, you thought about maybe making a pizza yourself, but you're a little like too drunk, maybe you got leftover pizza sitting there and you're like, you know what? Leftover pizza sounds a lot better than making a pizza or ordering one in because it's just right there. It's easy access and you just get it and it just tastes better than the real thing. And that's Kareem Hunt's situation right now. We know Jerome Ford is the lead back, but on this particular Sunday, that leftover pizza, that Kareem Hunt tasted better for the Browns, and it resulted in fantasy success for him. An obvious season high, 16 points. He had almost 4 yards of carry, threw in a touchdown for you, and was a little involved in the passing game as well. 3 receptions for 24 yards. So Kareem Hunt kind of rose from the dead this week, and I wouldn't expect him to really continue this because Jerome Ford is, I think we all think that he's the lead back still, but it was nice to see that Kareem Hunt still has some legs under him, and maybe he does turn in some better performances and makes it back onto this award show. But he, in week 6, is deserving of the biggest surprise nominee because no one saw that coming.
No one did, and especially the people who spent all of their FOB money on Jerome Ford during the waiver wire.
It's his birthday today, too, isn't it?
Oh,
It is.
wow.
Shout out Andy. Happy birthday, pal.
Happy birthday, Andy. And
Well,
you still shouldn't have spent all your FOB on Jerome Ford.
Especially now. He's punching air after this.
Should we each give him a birthday gift of like $4 of our own FOB?
Let's see if he wins first, because the winner of this award, ladies and gentlemen, is double checking to make sure it's still not a 50-50 split. It is not. The winner is Kareem.
There we go.
Bobby finally gets a win.
Yeah, I thought they were going to snub me with I thought I was going to get snubbed because Michael Pittman's more of a household name.
Yep. I think the reason is Pittman has been putting up decent numbers, so not much of a surprise for him to do just a little bit better than what he's been doing. Kareem Hunt, though, hasn't been playing football and just got onto the Browns, played for a week or two, and is now already winning biggest surprise of week 6.
So already making appearances on the eye test.
Yeah, and that'll do it for the award ceremony. We have one more award. We do this every single time at the end of our fantasy award show. We're sending someone to the doghouse, guys. And let me tell you,
this poor guy.
This guy didn't even star in a movie. In fact, You know what? He did. Let me go back into the notes here.
Oh no. Oh
He
no.
starred
Paul,
in You Are the Chosen One. We have a 2-time week winner, Davante Adams.
The very
He's
rare
sent
double whammy.
right to the doghouse. Boo?
Dude,
Do
it's
we boo that?
I am reminded of like what is like a celebrity, a superstar who was like on top of the world, you know, the career was great, everything was going well, and then all of a sudden just like an absolute collapse out of nowhere. I feel like that is the Davante Adams story of this fantasy season.
This week, at least. Yeah. Jeremy Lin. Davante Adams is the Nintendo
Johnny
Wii
Manziel
right now.
Johnny Manziel, yeah, like it's just like Davante was just partying too hard. He had that 44-point game. He's like, dude, I don't need to practice. I don't need to audition. I don't need to do any of this. I'm Davante Adams. And he teamed up with co-star Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy's like, sorry, dude, I don't have it. I can't take you to the promised land like Aaron Rodgers.
So Davante Adams going right to the doghouse, which we will talk more about in tomorrow's episode. Yes, subscribe to our channel. Get notified when that episode comes out. We can't wait to see you guys. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we appreciate it. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. It's one of the best ways that can help us grow. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. I'm sure these highlight tapes were fun to watch. Again, if you're listening, you got to watch on YouTube. We got plenty of cool highlights to show during the show. But we will be back tomorrow for the Week 6 Fantasy Doghouse. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.